We'll call this meeting of the Silver City Town Council to order. Please rise and join us for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I'm going to forgo the reading of the mission tonight, and we will move down. Do we have any public input? Oops. Both of the people that signed up under public input have signed up for agenda items. So we will hold your comments until the agenda item comes up. Mr. Andazola, we're going to move that item up in case you're in a hurry. And Charlie, where's Charlie? Well, he wouldn't have been here when I called him anyways. So he's under Arts and Culture District, so that's on the agenda as well. The next item will be council comments. Councilor Morones, would you like to start?
No comment, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Councilor Ray?
No comment, sir.
Thank you. Councilor Cook?
No comment today.
Thank you. Councilor Bettison?
No comment today, thank you.
Thank you. Any changes to the agenda? I would like to move item D under new business, which is resolution number 2013-04, to the first item to be addressed under new business. There's no objections?
No
objections.
The next item on the agenda is approval of minutes of the regular meeting of the Silver City Town Council of January 8th, 2013.
Mr. Mayor,
Councilor Ray.
I have corrections on the council comments.
Okay.
On congratulations to the coach Luis Alvarado and the Silver High School wrestlers and the Kobe wrestlers and staff for the tournament that was held over the weekend on New Year's Eve.
So the correction is including staff?
Yes, sir.
Any objections?
No, sir. No, sir.
So I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes of the meeting as amended.
Mr. Mayor,
Councilor.
I move that we approve the minutes of the regular town council meeting of January 8th, 2013 as amended.
Mr. Mayor, I'll second it.
There's a motion and a second to approve the minutes of the regular meeting of January 8th, 2013 as amended. Any discussion? There's a motion, a second, and no further discussion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. The next item on the agenda is reports. First up is High Desert Humane Society's Animal Intake Report for 2012 by Heidi Sexton. Just make sure the... Nope. There's a little button right in the middle of the... There you go. You got it.
Mayor, councilors, staff, Heidi Sexton, president of the High Desert Humane Society. I brought in this evening the reports of the animal intake for the year of 2012 under our agreement. It was nice to see on one of the reports there that it's consistently been going down throughout the years. We did have a little bit of an upswing in 2010, but it's going back down again. We would like to see it going down a little faster, but we're grateful for that. The other report that you have there is just a breakdown from 2012 at the impound animals, which is what the animal control show advance brings in. Strays being other remnant large animals, and then the unreturned animals. And the last category on there is the return to owners. We still do see a high euthanasia rate, and so we're hoping that in this next year particularly we can address that situation. I also wanted to bring some totals. We took in a little over $3,000 in license sales for the town of Silver City, and around $5,600 in impound fees. And that averages out to about $60 per animal, is what the agreement is paying for. In addition, we also do all the record keeping for the licenses and sell the licenses and provide the city licenses to the veterinarians to be sold also. So, our agreement will be coming due June 30th of this year of 2013, so we'll sit down again and take a look at it. Any questions?
Do you happen to know off the top of your head what the number of animals that are euthanized a year are?
Combined, I know, is around 60% here in Silver City and Grant County. We have about a 30% adoption rate at the Humane Society. About 10% is a return to owner or placement, and around 60% is euthanized.
Thanks.
Any other questions?
Any other questions? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
That's why I asked the question. The next report is Southwest New Mexico Green Chambers Quarterly Report of Visitor Center and Tourism by Sissy McAndrew, Executive Director. Sissy.
Thank you, Mayor, Council, and staff. It's a pleasure to be here once again. I do have a PowerPoint presentation to share some additional graphs with you. And the first one here is the monthly visitation, and now, of course, what's great is we've got about a year and a half worth of data. So as you'll see here in this graph, the light blue is last year's visitation by a month. The green is 2012. One of our concerns is that we aren't seeing an increase in tourism right now. We do see that the graphs started to go up in January of last year, and we'd like to attribute that to the fact that that's when we started running advertising. When we go down in June, that is due to the fires that we had, the Whitewater Baldy fire. We also have started to tie things back into looking at weather patterns and what may be causing tourism to fluctuate from month to month and day to day. This is the daily data right here for October, November, and December. And as you can see over in the far right-hand corner, we've actually listed some of the different events like the Red Dot Studio Tour, WNMU Homecoming, the Catwalk Reopen. So we're actually able to start tying things and seeing what's fluctuating the tourism on a daily basis. We're also seeing here that the daily rate of tourism has gone down from October at 47 people per day down to about 28 people per day in December. This is some of the other information that we're gathering, and this is letting us know where people are coming from. It's interesting, the blue part of the graph up there about the 1 o'clock time location on the pie chart is actually people coming in from Silver City and Grant County. We have quite a few folks that come in to get literature and information to send out to family and friends. Of course, when we have special events, we'll have people coming in trying to find out additional information, sometimes getting flyers and things of that nature. And of course, when we had the Play Festival, we had a lot of locals coming in, a lot of the tours were starting from the Visitor Center parking lot. So we're pleased to say that we actually have so many locals that are coming in. Then about 13% from other parts of New Mexico. The green area, we're seeing more of the regional flow from Arizona, Texas, California, Colorado. And then the other parts of the U.S., 27% Canada 5%. We're probably going to see that going up right now because it being the winter months on snowbirds. And then the international 6.7. We're real pleased with the number of international visitors that we have. This is information about, and it is very small, but we can get this information over to you. The number one reason that people put down that they heard about Silver City and Grant County is through friends. And we know word of mouth is very, very important. So part of what we're trying to do in the entire tourism plan is make sure that people are having a quality visit when they come, so they'll go and talk about it, and they'll get more return visitors, and also they'll be telling their friends. The internet is about half of that number, and we're going to see, I've got a graph for you that you'll be real pleased to see, that actually is showing the internet traffic now. But that's something that's growing. And again, we had several years where we had no marketing, so we're trying to catch back up from a couple of years where things were not real strong. This is, of course, the Tamale Fiesta, or Tamale Fiesta en Mas. We tripled the number of vendors this year, and also you can see Broadway was full. The museum actually had one of the largest days of visitation they've ever had. They had workshops, and it was a great event. We hope to again have that the second weekend of December of 2013. The day before the fiesta, we did have the quarterly meeting for the New Mexico Tourism Commission, and we were thrilled to have Ted Garcia, who was the third gentleman back. He is the chairman of the New Mexico Tourism Commission. So they were very involved with Silver City. They loved what we are doing. They loved the whole local aspect and the whole sense of community that we have. Then we had local Buck Burns. That was one of our judges. The gentleman closest to us over on the right-hand side is Lawrence Bayo, and he is the president of the New Mexico Green Chamber. So we had great judges, but again, we're really building relationships with the tourism department, and we think that this only is going to help us in the future. Also, a lot of the local businesses. This is a mariachi group that was here, and they wandered around town, and we saw that flow all the way. After the event, I go down through and look for remnants, corn husks, throughout downtown and make sure that we actually had a flow of people, and we were very successful with that. But next week, we actually had an economic forum with Headwaters Economics, and it was very, very well attended by a lot of the local businesses and local citizens. And this is really tying back to letting us know the value of having public lands out our backyard. And they have found, of course, over the last 30 years that the growth of population, the growth of jobs, and the growth of economies has actually been out in the West. So we feel very good that we've got this information now that we can tie back and also tie into tourism, continue to market the fact that we've got the Gila right out our back door. And this is some more information. This is the one I thought you'd find very interesting. With the Silver City Grant County Chamber of Commerce now changing in leadership, they are now sharing their information. And on the lower part of the bar graph in blue is the unique visits. So these are new hits that are coming up on their website, and this is for 2012. So we're able to see again in January where their hits started to ramp up, because this was a website that really, when somebody went and put in Silver City, no matter what the rest of the address might have been, this was the first site that was being pulled up. So we can actually see where the increase in hits was taking place up through May. As it started to drop off in June, the green area is actually the hits that are coming in on the silvercitytourism.org website. So what's great is we are actually maintaining, and we hope to again see this grow some more as we adjust our marketing. We've been doing the planning program and implementation, and now it's time for us to do the evaluation. We are starting to find out how much it's costing us per lead, and depending on the publication, that's ranging from $6 up to $11 for reader response cards. One of the challenges there is very few publications are still doing reader response cards. So we're going to be trying to tie the hits on the web page back to the publication so that we can verify that we do have a good return on our investment. We've also had some great things take place, like the Curious Kumquat winning national recognition in the magazine. We had a guest writer come down, Sharon Niederman, who's written several books on New Mexico. She stayed in some B&Bs. She dined at different restaurants, and that experience will now be tied back into an article on B&Bs and a publication on gourmet foods and flavors of New Mexico. And she also was great as far as coming and giving us some insight as far as what she feels the strength of our community is, our Western culture, and the fact that we have such great people and great weather. We now are going to be moving into the New Mexico True campaign. We've been doing this, but this is an ad that's very similar to some of the ads right now that the county is doing. This is a Silver City ad that will be in the new visitor's guide. And what it is you're posing a question. Silver City is the gateway to 3.3 million acre Gila National Forest. True or false? Silver City is New Mexico true. So this again is tying back into our co-op advertising with the state and continuing the Find Yourself in Silver City campaign. The new visitor's guide has gone off to the publisher, and so this will be out within the next month, and we're real excited about that. We actually did a very good job on judging the number of pieces last year. We're down to about the last 800 copies, and those will be getting distributed up at the legislature. We do have Santa Fe next week. We've got the Arts and Cultural District, and Tourism Day is the 29th. And then we have Grant County Days with the Prospectors and Green Chamber Day on the 30th. We have a tourism table up at the Prospectors event, so we'll be continuing to promote tourism there. And last but not least is some of the signage that we've got. This is a sign that will be the filler on the beautiful copper sign that we have at the corner of Swan and Silver Heights. So whenever there is not an event in that sign, this will be in that location. And I didn't get a picture of it, but I think you'll all be thrilled if you go by the corner of Hudson and Broadway. The sign that looked like it was burning up is now left, and we have a beautiful cultural sign that is directing people to historic downtown. So we are making headway. We continue to work very, very closely with the Arts and Cultural District. We're excited that there'll be a new executive director coming in with us soon. We are very, very pleased to be working with the Silver City Grant County Chamber, and I think you can feel confident that your community is working as a team, and we're looking forward to continuing to promote Silver City and increase visitation. Are there any questions at all?
You say there's a new director coming in? You say there's a new director coming in?
Interviews have been held, and the Arts and Cultural District will be making an announcement, I believe, in the very near future.
The numbers that you're seeing, that you graphed out for us, have you done an overlay with the state numbers?
We are trying to start to correlate some of that. The state is mentioning that they have an increase in visitation, and we believe that really tends to be up in the urban area, up in the urban front. All along the south, Deming has really had a drop-off. Anthony and Lordsburg visitor centers have dropped off. This is one of the concerns. I was speaking with Senator Morales, because the state tourism office is requesting $2.5 million in addition to their existing budget. And so we really hope to be able to work with them and help generate more tourism down here, especially in our corner of the state, but in rural New Mexico, because everybody seems to be struggling right now. And we just need help. We know they're there to help us market, but we need to figure out what formula is going to work and get those heads and beds.
Thank you. Councilor Bedison.
I was going to ask sort of a similar question, but I kind of want to take a little different tact in looking at the state tourism, you know, the New Mexico True campaign. It's very focused on doing, which, you know, we're doing the same thing, but a lot of what we do in our advertising is doing that are really summer-oriented events. We don't really have winter sports in this area, winter outdoor activities like, you know, the north does, or where there's ski areas. And so I was wondering if that drop-off might be correlated somehow with that, and that the campaign dollars that are being spent up in the northern part of the state, you know, to attract those winter sports enthusiasts, somehow we have to bring those dollars to the southern part of the state to say it's still warm, it's still wonderful down here, and you know, why not come on down and enjoy summer sports even in the winter? You know, continue to, even while it may not be green, it's still gorgeous outside, and you can go out and do a wonderful bike ride and still come in and have, you know, a fine dining experience in Silver City. So somehow would like to see that sort of translation go across, even though it, you know, because the one you showed us is obviously a summer photograph, but somehow we have to translate that and work with our partners in Deming and the southern tier portion of the state. So I guess that's sort of one of the things I've been thinking about, is that drop-off, because we've noticed it at the University Museum. So
That's great information, and the Tourism Commission really was encouraging us to continue to look at shoulder season and off-season events. You know, we just had the powwow this last weekend. The Chocolate Fantasia is coming up, and the Tomorrow Fiesta, the Lighted Christmas Parade. So we are marketing those, but we market those more in the regional regional market. So where people can come up, and then of course Main Street has First Fridays. We're looking at ways that we can coordinate with Main Street also to maybe try to get more 2 to 3 day visits. We had a lot more single nights or no night visits. I actually worked in the visitor center a couple days between Christmas and New Year's. But what was really great is people were driving along I-10, they were seeing the billboards, then they pull a map out and they go, oh, that isn't very far off the interstate, let's just kind of go take that side trip. You know, we had a lot of people doing that, which was really exciting. We also have had more people coming through from Arizona that have decided to come up through Silver City and see what we're about, or revisited us after years. So we've got some of those side trips taking place, but we'll definitely continue to look at ways we can build that growth in the off-season.
thank you.
Thank you, Sissy.
Thank you.
Next up is staff reports, but before I do that, I'm going to take a little point of privilege. And this won't go well with Councilor Bedison's last comments, but I'm going to do it anyways. But it goes well with Heidi Sexton's report. It has been freezing cold outside. We have had near record, if not record, low temperatures. We've had many days that are not warming above freezing. And I just want to remind everybody, pick your pets inside. Make sure that they're warm and taken care of. They can't handle that extended freeze that we've been experiencing. So let's take care of our little friends. And next is staff reports, Mr. Brown.
First I'll have Louise Elias. She's going to do a short report.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and the council and staff.
What I'm going to do is give you a brief summation of the statistics that Code Enforcement Division, which is headed up by Peter Russell's Department of Community Development, of what we've done in comparison to 2011. In 2011, we had a total of 341 cases, which were a majority of complaint-based. For this year, 2012, we've been very productive. I have a new officer, Jacqueline McNeese. She's been a great asset to the department. We had a total of 658 cases for the year of 2012 in code enforcement. Right now, 627 of those cases are closed because we achieved voluntary compliance on them, which is really good. We have 31 of them still pending from last year. 60% of those were weed abatement cases, and the remaining 40% were land use code violations and utility code violations, and those can be anything from meters to sanitation divisions. We also have public nuisance codes, which could involve wrecked, discarded vehicles, and whatnot. We had a total of 11 citations filed in court last year, and out of those, 2 cites are still pending in court. 2 were dismissed. One of those dismissed came with compliance the day of court, and the others were let out by the defendants with fees and fines. We've had 2 business revocations take place, and we've had 9 teardowns completed. 7 of those were done by the compliance of the owners of the property. We've had 107 business registrations issued for the year of 2012, and 8 business licenses for 2012. 17 special event permits were issued. 17 peddler permits were issued. 8 site permits for transient merchants, in which the owners of the commercial properties came forth and purchased the permits to allow transient merchants on their property to vend, and a total of 10 transient merchant permits of the actual vendors. Substantially, we've had an increase by 282% since 2010 of cases. And like I said, we have a majority of probably 85% complaint-based cases. The rest we self-initiated when we have the time. So I just wanted to thank you for giving me another officer, try to keep the town safer, cleaner. It is a task, and it is a fine line we have to walk. But I did want to commend Peter. He's been an excellent supervisor and helped us muddle through some very difficult cases. I want to thank the chief and his department. They have assisted us greatly in a lot of cases. And most of all, I want to thank Alex for his support and what we have to do. Any questions?
I think I can speak on behalf of the council in saying we realize that you have a very thankless job and that it can be very difficult and trying, and we absolutely 100% appreciate the work that you do and the effort that you put into it. It makes the entire town better, and you know, I know you put a lot of time on some cases that we had talked about, and the entrance to Silver City looks better for one of them, and it's just, we want you to know that we do appreciate your work. And
we are very thankful for our jobs. Thank you.
Chief, that was the relation of
maybe.
Harrison Johnson. The statistical information for 2012 completed and partial submitted. Not stats, however, they're not completed, and the rest of stats are probably in the third that needs to be completed and not completed and submitted by the end of this week. At the next council meeting, we'll do a 30-minute presentation and question and answer if you'd like. I'm not sure if you have any of the statistical information at this point. So at the next council meeting, I'll do a 30-minute presentation, question and answer.
I would appreciate that, and I really hope that there's a comparison over the last few years to 2012, because I'm hearing consistently that there's a community opinion that crime has really escalated, and I'd like to see the numbers before, and actually, if it has, it has, but I'd like to make sure that the facts are out there.
Thank you.
The only thing that I have is, yesterday, I presented our Colonias project to the governor, and she is very impressed on the regional work that Grant County is doing and has done in the past. And the Colonias from all of southern New Mexico actually were able to present. I presented for our COG, and the governor used our project as an example of how she felt that the other Colonias needed to work together to move the Colonias funding forward. So I just want to say, you know, I'm pretty proud about how we're all working together, and the governor is actually sees it.
I think right along with that, Alex, we're very fortunate at this point that we have an exceptional working relationship with Dr. Shepard at Western. We have a good working relationship with the county, with the other municipalities over in the Tri-City area, with obviously Priscilla at the Council of Governments is always there supporting all of us, and it's going to pay off in the long run that we're all working together and supporting each other for the better good of the entire county. Any other? Does Yolanda have any report on elections?
Yes, I'm good, Tony. Mr. the list you have in front of you are people that have worked the election before, other than one person as an alternate. All of them have attended the election school, and will be holding an election school on February the 20th for all those on the list.
Thank you. And I know there's been legislation, and I haven't seen it yet this year, but I suspect it'll come out that in the municipalities and county governments, when there's uncontested races, that rather than having multiple polling places per district, that we be allowed to have one polling place, which just saves the organization a lot of money and effort. So at this point, I would definitely support that legislation if it comes up again. And as long as we're having uncontested races, it just makes sense to not make a big deal over them. But even though it's uncontested, get out and vote. Any other staff reports, Peter? Okay. The next item with action is under new business, and we moved item D up. So it's approval, disapproval of resolution number 2013-04, honoring Carlos C. Aguirre and directing the town manager to affix a bronze plaque to be located at the Big Ditch Bridge on Broadway. Councilor Ray, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm going to explain a little bit about this resolution that I'm about to introduce. Mr. Carlos C. Aguirre is a native Silver City person. He was in the USMC. He was in Vietnam, and he got killed in Vietnam. I believe that we should honor at least one of our veterans here, if not more, by starting with Mr. Aguirre. He has 2 surviving brothers and a surviving sister. Mr. Aguirre was wounded early on in the month of February of 1968. He got killed a couple of weeks later. Mr. Aguirre taught me how to wrestle. I was just a puny guy in high school. I don't mean to intrude into the family. But I believe that it's something that has to be done, and I've been at this for about a year now. I did ask permission from Mr. Aguirre, from the 2 brothers, and they asked me to see how far we could take it. Hopefully, that it's at town councils, my fellow councilors here, to take it and approve this resolution that I would like to introduce for Mr. Aguirre. I would like for it to be put on Hudson Street Bridge. I wanted to say his name was Killer, and not to offend anybody, but he got the name Killer when we used to play baseball with St. Vincent's, and he was in the outfield. Mr. Aguirre was always a short person, no pun intended. He got the name Killer because he used to swing the bat very, very hard in playing baseball. And Richard Sierra was the coach at that time. And he used to tell him, don't kill the ball. So the name Killer stuck with him ever since then. I would have liked to have on the plaque, Killer Aguirre, but I understand that it could be offensive to somebody. And with that said, may I introduce this resolution?
Thank you. Is there anybody in the audience that would like to speak in support of this resolution? Please come to the podium.
Mayor, Councilman, staff, I'm Carlos Aguirre, Guanacaste. This was killed in Vietnam case happened in 1968. I was over there when it got killed. And should be if you guys approve this, then it should mean a lot to us. And I understand we lost a lot of veterans. But regardless what the outcome is, we want to, for family, I want to choose his brother Carlos, family, and our cousin who is here, and Carlos, Chuni's daughter. So, you know, it's going to be 45 years since we lost Carlos. He got killed February 24th, 1968. And, you know, we were overwhelmed
you guys at least consider me or my cousin. So, the pain is still there. And like a lot of families from other veterans that lost their lives, and they're still doing it. Even today. But the outcome of this is still from the bottom of our hearts. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Andizal.
My name is Frank Donahue, and I served through boot training of the Marine Army in 1966. And I'm a Vietnam vet, served with 1st Marine Division in Vietnam as a fleet lieutenant. And I have a very close tie to this. I'm a Marine, always a Marine. All these guys were my brothers. So we ask that you do this in his memory. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mayor, Councilman, staff, I've been with the Vietnam veterans for 20 years, and not one day passes by that we don't recall our fellow brothers that passed away, and are gone. They fade away from life, but they stay in our hearts forever. And knowing this, that this resolution has a lot of energy behind it, to find some healing for the family. And not only that, but to all the friends that he had. So it's a beginning. And every time there's a beginning, you'll see that veterans from everywhere will learn to understand that it takes a community also to support the veterans. Because you know what? Take out of the mainstream of society, if this is one step forward in the right direction, I ask that you consider this resolution to be a good one for the veterans here in Grand County. It's only a beginning. And you start small, but you get bigger later on. And that's the same reason why we have built a memorial for all the veterans, that have gone on in their lives, and some have got killed in places where they're even killed nowadays, where they exist. Vietnam is a place in the minds of others, it does exist, in others it doesn't. But in the hearts of the family that lost a loved one, it will be there forever. Vietnam was a bad name. Well, we just got to change that. Hatred will exist forever, but we've got to add some love to it. Because you know what? We all have to love each other as blood brothers, like Frank Dyke mentioned. We all become brothers, and we get very close to each other because you have to depend on each other. So now, even if it's 45 years ago, it seems like it was yesterday. To all of us that have lost a friend, or a brother, or a sister, or a father, or a mother in Vietnam, it seems just like yesterday. It doesn't change. But if you can make a difference, that is a change. So I appreciate you trying to do Joe, and don't stop here. Keep on going. Thank you.
Thank you, Armando. Anybody else like to speak? If not, any comments from the council? Councilor Morales?
I can give my full support to this. It is a small step and a small gesture, but every little small gesture just adds up, and it is a good start. Thank you.
Councilor Bedison?
I'd just like to echo what Councilor Morales said, and I thank Councilor Ray for bringing this forward, and I thank everyone who spoke. I think this is an important step, and I still remember the day that the helicopter was brought into Grant County, and how many of us went out to stand beside the road and to wave it all, to be there for all of you, to recognize that it was there. And I think that the emotion that the people that were bringing in, John Paul Jones and other veterans that were there, that were bringing the helicopter in, that's down at the Veterans Memorial out out in the Arenas Valley, out near Fort Baird, that began healing, this will begin healing as well here in Silver City. So I think it's a very important step. So thank you, Councilor Ray.
Just make a few comments. I'll save a few longer words for when we install the plaque, which I'm confident we will be doing. As we started this meeting tonight, I asked everybody to join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. To have a room full of veterans stand up, you can hear the difference when they say the pledge. And honor the flag that is a symbol of the freedoms that you fought for, died for, and that we enjoy today. The structure of this government, all of us sitting up here being selected to represent you, from the City Council to the County Commission up to the federal level, has instilled freedoms that no other country in this world enjoys. This is a very small token of appreciation and recognition, not only for Mr. Aguirre, but for all of our veterans that have served and continue to serve today. Councilor Ray came into my office several months ago, and we've had many discussions regarding this resolution and how to do it and how to do it right so that we honor all of the veterans. We want to make sure that, Mr. Aguirre gave all, and we recognize that, and we recognize the value, and we recognize the loss from the family. Many of you carry wounds today, some visible, some not. And we need to make sure that we honor all of you. As emotional as Councilor Ray is tonight, is how he's been throughout pretty much every discussion that we've had in my office over the last few months. There's nothing that this council can do or the citizens can do that it would signify the loss, the service that you provided this country. We'll start with this, and I hope that you can all be down there when we mount this on the bridge and we honor all of the veterans, past and present. And with that, I hope that the council unanimously supports this resolution and we can provide the permanent marker and honor. Any other discussion? With that, I'll entertain a motion to approve Resolution 2013-04.
Mr. Mayor,
Councilor.
I move to approve Resolution number 2013-04, honoring Carlos C. Aguirre and directing the town manager to affix a bronze plaque to be located at the Big Ditch Bridge on Broadway.
Mr. Mayor, I second the motion as stated.
There's a motion and a second to approve Resolution 2013-04. Is there any discussion?
No, sir.
There's a motion and a second, no further discussion, to approve Resolution 2013-04, honoring Carlos C. Aguirre and directing the town manager to affix a bronze plaque to be located at the Big Ditch Bridge on Broadway. Roll call, please.
Aye.
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 Motion carries.
Thank you. Thank you, Tommy, Tuni, and the rest of the veterans.
Councilor Bedson.
Mr. Mayor, I'm moving for a short break.
Just a second.
Mayor, I second that motion.
There's a motion and a second for a short break. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. We'll be in recess. And we'll call this meeting back to order. The next item on the agenda is under new business item A, approval, disapproval of notice of intent, ordinance number 1215, and ordinance amending chapter 16, section 16-44 of the Town of Silver City Municipal Code relating to the terms of office of the Incentive Review Committee. And what this basically is doing is, in 2011, we made an amendment to the Incentive Review Committee, changing it from 7 members to 5 in one section of the code, and not all the sections of the code that listed that. So we're basically reconciling this section to match the other section and making it where there's 5 members consistently in the code, as well as stating that there are no limitations of the number of consecutive terms a member may serve on the Incentive Review Committee. And that is the gist of this notice of intent. Is there any discussion from the audience? Seeing none, any comments, discussion from the council? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Mayor,
Councilor.
I move that we approve notice of intent ordinance number 1215 and ordinance amending chapter 16, section 16-44 of the Town of Silver City Municipal Code relating to the terms of office of the Incentive Review Committee.
Mr. Mayor, I second that motion as stated.
There's a motion and a second to approve notice of intent ordinance number 1215. Is there any discussion? There's a motion and a second and no discussion to approve notice of intent ordinance number 1215 and ordinance amending chapter 16, section 16-44 of the Town of Silver City Municipal Code relating to the terms of office of the Incentive Review Committee. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. The next item on the agenda is approval, disapproval of resolution number 2013-02 supporting a public-private cultural, economic development, arts and cultural district project. That's a mouthful. Councilor Morones.
Thank you, Mayor. I know I wasn't listed as a sponsoring counselor, but I do hold this this type of activity very, very important, and the ACD has done a great job over its existence so far. We list the first 5 whereases listing the economic benefits and why this is important. But also what's important is the fact that we're already branded, and it's and we need to develop from that and the synergy that the coordinating council brings to the table. This is a very important economic group and needs this partnership. Also from the fact that the state economic department has deemed this to be very important, not just to us as a community, but to the state as a whole. The state sees this as important to the state's economy and wants to see us affirm our support to it and also increase, as I've said before, in other vehicles, tools that we can use at our disposal. One thing I did notice and have heard comment about is the last whereas seems to could give the impression that we're obligating the town to move on some of these tools. So I would be very open and welcome to seeing a change on that last whereas. As you read through it, on the second line from the bottom on the last whereas, to say financial support through activities such as the Local Economic Development Act and or tax increment finance district. Might clean up that and may clear up some concerns that others may have. And I'm open to any suggestions on different words other than activities. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Anybody in the audience wish to speak regarding this resolution? Mr. Seibel.
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, my name is Nick Seibel, and in addition to being the Silver City Main Street Project Manager, as the Main Street Manager, I also sit on the Arts and Cultural District Coordinating Council. And additionally, the Corporation for Downtown Development, the parent organization of Main Street, is also the fiscal agent for the ACD. And in the few short years that we've had the Arts and Cultural District here in Silver City, it's already made a tremendous impact. As Councilor Morone has pointed out, just alone in the branding statewide of the importance of the arts and the culture to the economy of New Mexico, and putting us right in there with Taos and Las Vegas, New Mexico, and Albuquerque, other communities that are sort of known for their arts and their cultural activities. It's a real opportunity. Great things have already happened, and more will be coming in the future. And we really appreciate your support of this resolution. This is required of us to renew our affiliation with the statewide arts and cultural district programs. And in the audience tonight with me is Femi Kalmont. She's the director of the Members Region Arts Council and the founding chair of our ACD here in Silver City, and still remains a member of the executive committee of the coordinating council, and Susan McKendry's here as well. So lots of folks to answer questions if y'all should have any. Thank you.
Were you filming yourself with that computer, Nick? Got your hair all slicked back and everything. Anybody else wish to speak on behalf of this resolution?
Mayor, council, and staff, I think back to when I first heard that Silver City was selected to be one of the first arts and cultural districts, and really to set an example for other communities in the state. And I think we've done that. I know what a team approach the Arts and Cultural District has. There's so much energy and there's so much passion, and we are moving forward and accomplishing so much. So I also want to just verbally, on behalf of myself as a citizen, and then also professionally, encourage the council to go ahead and approve this ordinance this evening. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? Seeing none, any comments, questions, brilliant ideas from the council? Councilor Bettison.
Well, I can certainly support this. I know as a museum director for my job, that's one of my jobs, that a number of studies have been conducted by the American Alliance of Museums, various arts organizations, including the National Endowment of Humanities, and even arts organizations within, and arts and cultural organizations within our own state, have shown that arts and cultural events are something that can draw a visitor to stay in our community for longer, especially if they come to a community to visit and find that there's an artistic event or an art opening or a cultural event that's ongoing. They're more likely to extend their stay by 1 or 2 days in order to attend that event. So having Silver City being one of the first arts and cultural districts named in the state of New Mexico was really, what it did is it really showcased the fact that we do have this fantastic and rich cultural heritage and artist heritage in our community. So this is critical to our economy and to how we all interact here on multiple levels. It's part of in addition to our businesses, this is really one of those turning points and one of those apexes in our economy that's important. So I think that this resolution, as I said, is something I can stand behind, and I appreciate it. So thank you.
I think it's an important point to note that the Arts and Culture District has a significant portion of lodger's tax awarded to them, and not approving this resolution could have some catastrophic effects on the marketing of Silver City, which I don't think we want to go through again. So I would support this resolution. Any other comments? Councilor?
Mike, you were talking about the last whereas. Are you seeing a problem with the wording that I'm missing? Because it looks pretty good to me, but I'm not an English expert either.
Mr. Mayor, Counselor, I really don't have any problems with it. It's just that there could be the concern that there could be somebody reading into that we are absolutely obligating ourselves to start work and start implementing these tools that are available to us, as opposed to just listing them as potential tools in our toolbox. I really don't mind moving forward without change, but I did want to offer that to, in case anybody did have issues and just want to clarify that it's tools in a toolbox and not something that we're absolutely doing based on this.
Oh, okay.
Councilor Benson.
I would say I'd support making the changes, because right now it seems like these are the only two tools, and they are right now, but there could be in the future additional tools, and it could seem to be limiting us only to these two tools if we don't expand the wording just a little bit to say activities such as, because that kind of it brings it into a broader perspective that there might be tools in the future that we could access.
Yeah, I think the change is important. You know, I can just hear us a year from now saying, well, you passed a resolution that said you were going to do a TIF. Mm-hmm. Well, as of today, we haven't seen the actual financial breakdown and benefits of doing a TIF. So it would not be a good argument in a year, and having language in there that says, well, you intended to. So I mean, we could go a lot stronger language as well too. But I think I can be satisfied with what the counselor suggested. Any other discussion? Entertain a motion.
Mr. Mayor, I move for approval of resolution number 2013-02, supporting a public-private cultural economic development arts and cultural district project, with one amendment in the final whereas, so that the entire final whereas reads, the town agrees to work with the New Mexico Economic Development Department's New Mexico Main Street Program, the New Mexico Arts Division, and the New Mexico Historic Preservation Division of the Department of Cultural Affairs, dedicating local resources and financial support through activities such as the Local Economic Development Act and or a tax increment finance district to create a successful arts and cultural district.
I'll second it.
There's a motion.
I'm sorry, with the amendment.
There's a motion and a second to approve resolution 2013-02 as amended. Is there any other discussion? Everybody comfortable? You understand the amendment? We know what we're voting on? Hearing no objections. We have a motion and a second, no discussion, to approve resolution number 2013-02, supporting a public-private cultural economic development arts and cultural district project as amended. Roll call.
Councilor Benson?
Aye.
Councilor Cook?
Aye.
Councilor Ray?
Aye.
Councilor Morales?
Aye.
Motion carries. The next item on the agenda is approval, disapproval of resolution number 2013-03, authorizing and approving a submission of a completed application for financial assistance and project approval to the New Mexico Finance Authority. So I put this back on the agenda. As many of you know, the Silco Theater has been an issue on kind of in limbo, for the lack of a better term, as to whether we're buying it, Main Street's occupying it and leasing it, I believe, at this point. For whatever reason, we have not actually made the move to purchase the building outright. Since I last considered this, we have a major change in the town that the Real West Theater has closed, and Silver City no longer has a theater in town. If we are to purchase the Silco, this can be initially a stopgap, and we can provide find an operator to provide a single screen theater service out of the Silco. Additionally, the work that Main Street has done on the building, and as well as acquiring other financial sources for equipment, will facilitate the building being of increased usage and a better asset for downtown in the long run. If it becomes a part of a permanent theater plan that is activated and carried out, so be it. If it does not, and another option is accomplished, then this will be set up and established with the equipment and ownership to be an asset to the town for bringing in meetings and tourism and many of the things that they're currently doing within the building. So that's why this is on here at this point, and we need this resolution to pursue the financing with NMFA and see what our true options are. Mr. Brown.
Yes, Mayor, this is the first step for submitting just an application currently to the Finance Authority. They'll get it on their February meeting for approval. After that, then the town will have to move forward and adopt an ordinance to approve the loan. We will also have to move forward in the acquisition of the property, a purchase agreement. We've already started the process of an appraisal for the property, because we can't pay more than appraised value for the property. So we'll be concurrently going through the loan process and the purchase agreement process, and hopefully at the same meeting approve the loan and the purchase agreement at a future time when everything's set up and ready to go.
We also had the building inspector in, our building inspector, to check the building.
Yes. And the current plan is to use the state funding that went to Main Street through us, as well as this financing, and then we will lease the property to Main Street for a value that will equal, at least equal the amount of debt service that will be required to pay off this loan. So nothing actually should be coming out of the town's pocket for this.
Let me go to the audience first. Anybody in the audience wish to speak on this resolution? Where's your computer?
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, I could not be more thrilled to be standing in front of you tonight with this resolution here. As you alluded to, the Silco Theater has been a long-time project of Main Street, going on more than 6 years now, And we're finally to the point tonight where this investment, which has already borne so much fruit for downtown in terms of all of the events and activities that the Silco has allowed us to host downtown that otherwise we would not have had space for. But now it puts us in a position to be able to bring First Run Films back to Silver City. And I don't know what you all have been hearing in the community, but certainly what I've been hearing every single day is folks who say, how can we live in a town without a movie theater? And it's true, Silver City deserves better. And with your support of this resolution tonight, it begins us on a process that will allow us to bring movies back to Silver City sooner rather than later. For those of you who may be familiar with the Silco in its current state, it's sort of a halfway sort of space. About a dozen years ago, family from Alaska moved to Silver City and they purchased the Silco, which had been up to that point a furniture store and then the Silco Mini Mall. And it had been completely converted, had 2 complete floors. The auditorium floor had been leveled. The auditorium itself had been divided in half all the way across with a complete second floor. And these folks who purchased the building sort of cut away part of the second floor and made some modifications to start bringing it back to a theater. What Main Street has always planned to do, and what we will do as this process moves forward, is remove that floor and remove the remnants of that second floor and open the auditorium back up to its full size again. We're hoping we'll be able to reinstall a balcony in the historic footprint, and most importantly, we'll be able to install concession facilities and projection equipment that will allow it to function as a modern digital cinema. And we're really excited because the Silco, we have done all of this planning, all of this work over these past 6 years to bring us to this point where we're essentially ready to go. So with your support tonight, Main Street will proceed with our process to acquire the building and make these renovations and then have a building that's ready to be conveyed to the town when their financing comes through in a few short months. Our goal is, if all goes as planned, we can be showing films in there through a private operator by the month of May. And so it's great news for downtown. It's going to be great to have those people and that energy. And we hope, as Main Street and as downtown, that this is only the first step in a process that will bring us multiple screens of movies and a really exciting and vibrant arts, entertainment, and cultural district in our downtown.
What do you mean by private operator, Nick?
Well, as you know, the way the Silco's worked for the past 6 years is Main Street's sort of run it as a rental venue. People book it, they pay us money, we rent them the space, they put on their thing. Well, with this acquisition, the way that works will change. It'll go back to being a theater. There'll be fixed theater seating. We'll have the projection equipment. And what Main Street anticipates doing is just subleasing that theater space to a private operator, someone whose job is operating a movie theater and operating it well, and bringing them in and allowing them to run that as a business. It's exciting because, again, Main Street has already begun the process of installing the equipment, so it'll be ready for a favorable lease to an operator. And the nice thing about the Silco is it does have, an apartment upstairs. It has 2 retail storefronts that also generate income and help defer the cost of the whole space to a theater. So it's an exciting multi-use space, but we will be working with someone to actually operate that theater as a private business. And I've actually been talking to a couple of different folks who are interested in the lease to operate the theater, one of which is Fountain Cinemas, the folks that ran the Real West. And then there's another in-state New Mexico operator that's interested in looking at operating the space as well.
Anybody else in the audience wish to speak on this resolution? Seeing none, any comments from the council? Councilor Ray.
Thank you, Mayor. I have been in contact with Mr. Nick Seibel for a while and asked him to do something with the Silco Theater, and I'm glad that this is coming about. This past weekend at the powwow, I was approached by at least half a dozen people asking me to ask you to bring the Silco Theater downtown for a movie. They would gladly support you. So with that in mind, I am looking forward to on this resolution here. Thank you.
Any other discussion? Councilor Morales.
Just a couple comments from what I've seen over the last half a dozen years is we have an entity, the Main Street Project's been a partner with us for nearly 3 decades as doing economic services for us. So, you know, we've paid them. They look to keep us economically vibrant downtown. And half a dozen years ago, that group identified an economic shortfall in something that's needed downtown, extremely important. And they found several business leaders who put some skin into the game and put a lot of money into this project because they also saw that this was vital for our area, our economy. And on top of that, the State Economic Development Department has also been very public in saying this has to happen, not just for you guys, for the state as a whole. This is so important that we're putting skin in the game. There are a lot of people in this town, in this state, who are saying this has to happen, and we're all putting skin in the game. We're all putting our energies, our sweat, and it seems like we're the lagging entity, but that's because we have to do our due diligence. But this has been identified by many very important economic people who have identified this as extremely important. They've put their money, their time into this project, and it's about time that we move forward as well. Thank you, Mr.
Any other discussion? I'll just make a few comments on the bigger picture real quick. Over the last probably 2 months, well, probably the last close to 8 months, I've actually been in contact and discussion with several theater operators. Over the last 2 months, we've been having meetings with Mr. Brown, the County Commissioner Caston, County Manager Sari, Dr. Shepard at WNMU, as well as Main Street, Mr. Seibel, and trying to come up with a plan that serves the theater needs of the community. So we are working towards a definitive plan. Obviously, well, I've learned a lot about operating a movie theater in the last few months, but one of the things that we did learn was one screen doesn't cut it, and our optimum would be 5 screens. Probably our minimum would be 4 that could make a really viable business model for a theater operator. So we're continuing to develop the project. We'll meet again next week and see what our next steps are in moving forward. But we're not ignoring the issue. We realize the importance. It's, you know, Councilor Morones mentioned several concerns with the community and economic development in the state. It's really hard to say you're a college town without a movie theater. So that's one of the reasons Dr. Shepard is involved, not the only reason, but he wants to definitely support this community in supporting Western. And so we're going to continue to aggressively work on this project and see if we can't get a good full-service theater back into Silver City. And any other discussion? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion. Councilor Ray.
Thank you, Mayor. I move to approve resolution number 2013-3, authorizing and approving submissions of a completed application for financial assistance and project approval to the New Mexico Finance Authority.
Mr. Mayor, I second that motion.
There's a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, there's a motion, a second, and no discussion to approve Resolution 2013-03, authorizing and approving submission of a completed application for financial assistance and project approval to the New Mexico Finance Authority. Roll call, please.
Councilor Edison?
Aye.
Councilor Cook?
Aye.
Councilor Ray?
Aye.
Councilor Holmes?
Aye.
Motion carries. The next item on the agenda is approval, disapproval of March 5th, 2013 election workers.
Madam Council, Yolanda told me if I needed to present this, she was going to hit me with her purse during the break. So she mentioned listed the poll workers. All of them have worked the elections before and have gone through election school. So we present the list for the poll workers to you.
But I have a question for Yolanda. Just kidding. I messed with you earlier today. I won't do it twice. Any discussion? We do need to approve this list so the elections can proceed.
Mr. Mayor,
Council,
I approve,
move.
I move to approve the list of election workers for the regular municipal election on March 5th, 2013.
Mr. Mayor, I second that.
There's a motion and a second to approve the March 5th, 2013 election workers as presented. Is there any discussion? There's a motion and a second, no discussion, to approve the March 5th, 2013 election workers as presented. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next item on the agenda is appointment to the library board. Let me pull it up. We have an application from Elizabeth Foster. I have reviewed her application. The chair of the library board has reviewed and approved her application and recommends her appointment. I find that she is qualified, and if there's no objection, I would appoint her, Elizabeth Foster, to the library board. No objection. Hearing none, Ms. Foster is duly appointed. The next item on the agenda is appointments to the Lodgers Tax Advisory Board. And we have basically have the exact same group that has been on the board for numerous years, have reapplied. And those are the only applications that we have received. So if there's no objection, I would like to appoint Nancy E. Johnson. Yeah, we'll get there. Michelle Carrillo. Catherine Gorthy. Sandra Hicks. And Mitch Hellman. Is it two?
It doesn't, she doesn't have the right information on here. You're supposed to be, I can't remember what the new code says. Is there three that are 2-year terms and one that's 1-year term? I can't remember.
Regardless, those are the appointments that I'm bringing forward, and we'll work out the terms when we send them the letters and ensure that we have staggered terms for the future in accordance with the ordinance. Is there any objection?
No objection.
Hearing no objection, they're duly appointed. And with that, I'll entertain the motion to adjourn today.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion to adjourn.
Mr. Mayor, I second.
We have a motion and a second to adjourn. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. We are adjourned.